Hey, bubbling. So this is part two to my left and right hand path video. So I figured out that the left hand path then, and here I have a diagram quick just to get you guys on what I'm talking about. Um, a little diagram where it comes out. But either way, so the left hand and right hand path, um, and it also comes out in the zodiac anywhere. So Cancer and Leo, along with Aquarius and Capricorn, are the center. The left hand and right hand path are represented by the suns around it. So there are so um, Sagittarius, Scorpio, Libra, and Virgo, all right here, or going in order. Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, and Sagittarius all represent a sort of andromatic energy, both on their respective paths, right? And then Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and Gemini all have a pure energy, right? Okay, now Pisces and Aries are on the pure left hand path. Okay, now Taurus and Gemini are on the pure right hand path. Okay, and then when we get down to their opposite signs, now the impure, the andromatic side, or the opposite side, Sagittarius or going forward back, yeah, going from back or just going forwards, Virgo and Libra would then be the andromatic side or the real side or the corporeal side of the left hand path, okay? And then of the right hand path, Scorpio and Sagittarius would be the andromatic or the real side of the right hand path, okay? So that's another way to visualize where this is coming from. Um, and then you could also see this in a whole other way too. There's with the four signs, but that way I think is very telling, and that's planetary based because the sun, the Saturn, and the moon all create a soul trinity or a mind trinity or a body trinity, or it's like Mercury, like the middle, um, the middle version. They all form the middle, right? And then Mars, Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus all form the left and the right hand paths, right? And so we can see that in that their opposition, right? Each path has all four planets, right? So when we have the left hand path, like I said, Aries, um, Pisces, Libra, and Virgo, right? The left hand path's Mars is Aries, left hand path's Jupiter is Pisces, left hand path's Mercury is Virgo, and the left hand path's Venus is Libra, right? Then go into the right hand path. The right hand path's Mars is Scorpio, the right hand path's Jupiter is Sagittarius, the right hand path's Mercury is Gemini, and the right hand path's Venus is Taurus, right? And then, like I said, we have the middle trinity of Saturn, Sun, and Moon right here, right? Um, so either way, the right hand path represents light magic, okay, whereas the left hand path represents dark magic. And we can just say magic with anything, right? But the right hand path is light and the left hand path is dark. And what this means is that the left hand path puts you in opposed energy to where your left field, right? And if you're in the dark of something, you're going to have to, you're just in the dark, right? And you there's positive and negative to that. Whereas on the right hand path in the light, when you're on the positive side of something, the right hand path, what we're talking about more in this, science aside, right? The right hand path has to do with light magic. So when you're realizing, right, when you're going with everybody's opinions, right, when you're able to see where everybody's coming from and you're coming from a place of power and receptivity rather than art and dream, right? And so the right hand path and the power of light has the power of um, realization and the power of concretization, but it also has the power of selling your soul, right? So the right hand path's negativity would be gaslighting or just going with the flow and never quite finding yourself and only utilizing the currents that we find ourselves in despite not necessarily agreeing with them. So never fledging your own current or going your own way, right? um, right hand, whereas the left hand path would be the opposite, right? It's always going its own way, and there's positives and negatives to that, right? Whereas always going the righteous way, there's positive and negatives to that, right? But the seven and the three represent the left and right hand path, and these are both the opposing paths that deal with spiritual journeys and growth. So when you want to utilize this three, the seven, or the left or the right hand path energy, and when you can really understand where I'm talking about and where I'm coming from, and we can get into terms, because the going more into the science from it, it's with how they correspond to each other, right? Like the three and the seven are the odds that don't necessarily quite oppose like the one, five, and the nine do. They almost oppose, right? But not quite, right? So there's parts of it that are completely opposite, but there's parts of it that literally don't see each other, just like the left and right brain. So what this means is when you're really in a certain energy, a polarized energy, right, and you're stepping in a certain direction, you're automatically going to uncover something from beyond the veil on the other path or on the other side that you didn't see coming, right? So the left and right hand paths are always best to be utilized when you're trying to grow or trying to expand, right? They almost have that Jupiterian vibe to them, because of that, because they're almost putting you in this scenario that's going to force expansion. And that's like the same way with 1, 9, 5, with all the odd numbers, right? But they all have it in their own characteristics, right? The 1 is similar to the left hand path, but it's just the pure spiritualization, right? There's no searching, or there's no oppositical, like there's no um relationship with any other, right? Like you can balance it out. You can balance out the left hand path with the right hand path, but you cannot balance out the spiritualization with power, because then you'd have to balance it out with perfection as well, right? Like the Trinity doesn't necessarily balance that way. So the one shares these components, and it kind of has this aspect of power over spiritualization, right? Where the left hand path is the power of learning about spiritualization, right? Five is perfection in the chart too, right? One, power over spiritualization, right? Three, putting in expanding yourself around spiritualization. Five, perfection. Seven, expanding yourself around power. And nine, utilizing power, right? And so, and then we also have the evens too, but that's interesting. But yeah, right? Light light magic, right? Utilizing the path of relatability and utilizing the path of um, agreement, right? Great for realization and corporalization, because everything that exists is dreamwork makes the teamwork. Left hand path, great for art and finding yourself, because truly connecting to something means it's something that you found on your own, and that it comes from within, right? So, yeah. Hey, left hand, right hand path. Great energies to connect to if you're in a place of if you're in a mundane place, right? Because they're going to cause things to change necessarily. And so that's the great part about the left hand and right hand path. So, hey, bubbling, Citra, beach.